Happy Labor Day, everyone. Hope you had a good and safe weekend and were able to enjoy the holidays. The markets were closed for the US session and only opened for the European session. We're going to start off going through our CoT reports for the data that came out on Friday, August 30th. We'll start as we usually do with the S&P. Just a quick reminder that derivatives trading is inherently risky and past performance is not indicative of future returns. As we look at the chart here, we can see that commercials have closed their long position into month end, and now we are neutral. It'll likely be a few more weeks before we get anything clear setting up. We stayed most of the week between our upper rotational level and our pivot, between 56.43 and 55.65 that we had here last week. And you can see the week played out pretty well between the two, missing the low of the week by 3 points. And an identical month end is to what we saw in May. The structure and setup for this month end were nearly identical to May's, and the price action as well was almost exactly similar, with a high close and a low a day difference by about 30 minutes. This week will bring plenty of macro catalysts, with the biggest monthly catalyst sitting in a few weeks. Our levels to watch this week will be for rotational from 5,600 to 5,698, with our pivot sitting at 56.48. Over 56.98, our targets will be 57.36 and 57.96, with our lower targets, if we get below 5,600, at 55.53 and 55.28. Be sure to check out the daily ranges to compare, as we can see an extension beyond these towards the latter part of the week with all the catalysts that we have on deck. As we turn our eyes to the crypto space here, Bitcoin played out well between our rotational zone last week, and commercials still, they don't have a position. There's a net position of 2 contracts, which tells us there is no edge in this at the moment. Our levels last week, we can see here, and we stayed between our pivot and our lower rotational pretty well, where you had some shorts at the pivot and some longs at the rotational into the back half of the week. For this week, because it'll be a few weeks before we get anything clear on the CoT report, as it takes time to build these positions, we'll look for rotational price action between 62,725 and 57,420, with our pivot at 60,465. If we get over 62,725, our first target is 64,860, and our end target is 66,280. Below 57,420, we will target 55,040 and 53,575. On to soybeans. We'd recently hit a 3-year max long position, so we saw a move back up last week for commercials to begin de-risking. And our big level to watch on the upside here will be 1,005, with a target over that of 1,023 and trend at 1,036. A retest of this will give us a great entry either for a short, swing short position, or will lead to a change in sentiment and direction. And if that's the case, then we will look for a move back up to 1078 over the next few weeks. And just a quick recap here on NVIDIA, we posted levels during the week for our subscribers so they could use them real time. And we gave you guys a preview on our last CoT video, and our levels worked out perfectly as we held our lower pivot, and that was the signal that the bottom was in for the NQ. And if you trade after hours, you could have nailed some very nice trading. You can see how we came right down into our pivot level on the earnings. And again, we know where these traders are sitting as their agenda becomes very clear. On to currencies, nothing signaling on the currency front, so we'll just recap our dollar from last week. Commercials are still net short and added to their short position again as we head into a currency devaluation event with the FOMC in September. Our lower rotational level at 100.44 and 100.58 was perfect support for the week. And we did see a move back up almost to our rotational high. So again, this helped to drive other currencies down, and our correlations worked out very well throughout the week for some nice trading using the dollar. If you want to learn how to trade any futures product or equity with proprietary tools to see who's in the market and where they are, be sure to check out our website at Six Trading Academy for our classes starting on September 14th. Have a great weekend, great Labor Day, and a nice week of trading ahead, everybody.